All right. Laura Palmer is Dead, a Twin Peaks podcast. The Return. Parts 3 and 4. Starting out with some really freaky stuff. With
Coop falling through space.
Yes. And meeting a character that we only know her name because of the fire stick. It's Naido, Naido. I was going to do like an anagram thing to see what that could possibly, if there's meaning there.
So she's not just Asian woman with no eyes.
Right. So this woman is in kind of a purplish room, and she's wearing a lovely reddish purplish velvet dress and has like eyes kind of
like
sewn shut,
or
like with skin grown over it.
Right.
Skin grown over it.
It was a cool
grafts,
image.
It's freak. I also like the ocean that he's like looking
right.
out
It's like a
upon.
purple.
Yeah, she like leads him up onto like some sort of out of the red room into like some sort of like on top of like what looks like a submarine / space shuttle
right.
Yeah, and then he's
bathtub,
which makes me think that
storage pod.
Yeah, it does. The outside looks like a storage. It makes me think that the Black Lodge has all these different like portal. This is like what we're seeing is the inside of the different portals, or like all the different places you can be. Yeah. It's like infinite. I thought it was kind of a missed opportunity. You're going to be shocked to hear me say this, that this role was not played by Joan Chen. I think this character should have been Josie. That would be the perfect opportunity to use Josie in this episode.
Right. And
or in this
kind
new
of
season.
Bring it back to, hey, remember that's why you started watching the show.
Right.
This little town, and she got lost in a doorknob.
Right.
That's where she ended up.
And that's this
doorknob. Yeah.
You
never thought you'd hear me say that I wanted to see Josie, but it's a silent role. It's a victim. It would have been perfect. Yeah, and there's no question her kind of, like, there had to be a choice to make her look the way she looked. I'm not just saying Asian, but she did kind of look like Joan Chen, too, I thought. So, I don't know why, if they couldn't get her or what, but, and further kind of, like, making me think that it could have been Josie is that the other character in this kind of purgatory room is Ronette.
Ronette's there.
So it's
after this NATO, she pulls a lever on top of the box
of the submarine,
and then she flies into space.
She sacrifices herself.
She seems to sacrifice herself.
Yeah.
To change the
portal from 15 to 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what she was doing.
And
I guess that makes sense.
His Great Northern Hotel room is room 315.
I've just started to jot down all the numbers that they mentioned.
There's a lot.
Just in case.
There's a lot in this episode.
Something that they really like the Z, and then for the next episode, the M is very in the Mustang.
Yeah,
casino is very prevalent.
Okay.
So, do they ever say? Does he ever say Ronette, or do we just know it's Ronette because we know?
He doesn't say it. I think when we paused, it said Ronette.
Well,
and then
I recognized her, and then we paused it, and the fire stick had.
It said Ronette, but you were right. Yeah, you recognized her. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Kelly and Pat just got fire
We're
stick.
so into it because of this one feature where you can pause and see the actors. But like then it would make sense that you have Ronette and Josie, who are two damned women, in this like kind of purgatory purple pink room.
Does this mean that Ronette died?
That's the question. Why is Ronette in that room? And whose mother? She goes, mother is coming.
Both of them say that.
And then the door something starts banging on the door really hard.
Right.
Mother.
Yeah, right.
I had a theory that I wrote that NATO is like a kind of a physical manifestation of Cooper's emotional state, because he's not operating with all of his senses. Like, something's wrong. He's not able to see the full picture. Or not a physical manifestation, but she's like a metaphor for Cooper's state, because he can't see the big picture. He doesn't have enough to figure out what's going on.
Although she doesn't act like she can't see, right? Like she's like leading him around, isn't she?
No, she feels his face and she feels the walls.
Yeah, my bad.
there's a sense of impending doom that I wonder if it's really there or just Cooper's kind of imagining it.
Ronette does warn him he has to get out now or it's too late.
And can I just comment that apparently whenever you've aged 25 years, your hair just gets shorter.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Like Laura Palmer's hair has short hair. Ronette comes back, she has short hair.
Right.
It's like, oh.
Yeah.
After you should really cut your hair after a certain age is what David Lynch is telling us.
It's also odd about Ronette, besides the short hair, like, her costume was just kind of a red cardigan and jeans. She looked kind of like a PTA mom, where everyone else we've seen in the Black Lodge or the waiting room is in like some sort of like velvet 1940s dress.
Elegant
or like something kind of evening wear. Ronette's just sort of like come as you are.
Yeah.
Like she was driving from a PTA meeting and got hit by a truck or something.
We should also talk about how when Coop's up top, before he goes back down, he's just like staring off into this space vortex. And there goes Major Briggs' face.
Yes.
Floating by that says Blue Rose.
Blue Rose.
And it just fades out.
Yeah.
I
Blue
couldn't
Rose.
tell who that was.
You guessed. You were like, that's
did?
Major Briggs, right? And I said, yeah. It's Bobby's dad.
And
I guessed that.
I think we get even more confirmation in these episodes that Blue Rose cases are like X-Files cases.
Yeah.
Like cases where it's just unexplained and weird. Don't know who the mother is because we know Ronette's mother. She's a delightful, albeit poorly dressed woman. And no one would be afraid of her, ever. She's very sweet. So it's not Ronette's mother that they're afraid of. Number-wise, is there significance to 252 as the time that the
I have 253.
Coop swap happens?
Yeah.
I'm not a math person, so I'm leaning on my co-host to tell me if that means anything. 252.
7.
I mean, you're missing 5. The prime number 3, so it's not like a sequence.
Yeah. And the portal is 3. The portal that he goes through to enter is 3.
It's 3.
So something is missing. Doesn't someone say something is missing?
9.
Probably the
Hawk does. No, the log lady.
The log lady
tells Hawk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Number theory. Never thought I'd be into number theory, but they really like.
I mean,
they're pretty heavy-handedly put it out there.
They're
You
like,
can't deny it.
Look at this number. Look at this number. I'm gonna focus on this number.
Yeah,
this
they're
number
everywhere.
Might come back. That's how I view it.
And like our episode 2 or 3, I said something about the number theory in the show, like at the beginning of season 1, and I was like, that's stupid. There's no number. Like he's not doing any of that. But now I wonder.
You're totally right, and I'm sure he was, and I never noticed that, and now it's very clear. Yeah,
2 donuts.
That's right.
Stacked.
And like the domino, and anyway. Yeah.
For sure. The 315 Great Northern Key, which they show us later, is definitely gotta be because he was about to go into like the Portal 15 and then not Josie sacrificed herself to change it to Portal 3 so that he goes into the world as Dougie.
Yeah.
So
yes.
So Dougie.
We get to Dougie.
The third.
I recognize this as Las Vegas like instantly before the casino scenes, like because I used to live there. And
really?
The residential area.
Yeah, the residential area. Like they all look like that.
I just have no desire to go to Vegas at all. I've never been. I have no desire. It's one of those places.
I've never been either.
You know what they call those yards where it's all just rocks?
What?
Hardscaping.
I mean. Yeah, it fits. Sweet Dougie. We meet Dougie, who is three times the Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah.
If you didn't like Kyle MacLachlan, this isn't the show for you. Is one thing that I'm going to say.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Buy one Kyle MacLachlan, get 2 free.
They're literally manufacturing.
They saw the Fargo Ewan McGregor twofer and they said, we can do better than that.
Yeah.
No refunds if your Kyle MacLachlan turns into a gold pearl and a ring.
Poor Dougie. What a sweet... He seems like a sweet guy.
Yeah,
he's got good taste in hookers. She seems really
she's
nice.
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't
Jade
help
is her name.
as much as she could when shit goes down.
Yeah, when
she's a no-nonsense.
But she at least gives him a ride.
Yeah. She gets shit done.
She thinks he had a stroke.
2 rides.
Yeah. 2 rides.
2 rides.
She's I think Jade is a nod to Invitation to Love. Jade and Emerald were the two sisters in Invitation to Love that were trying to get Chet's money. Why do I know that? That's
and is the ring like the magic ring looks like
amazing.
The ring could be emerald, so that could be Jade and Emerald right there.
I love when
Yes, he has the ring on.
From
Right.
It looks like it's made of emerald. It's green.
Yeah. So Dougie, there's kind of two Dougies in this episode. There's the real Dougie that we meet at first,
He's there for about 2 minutes.
2 minutes. He has the left arm go numb. He pukes up a lot of Garmin Bozia, which for some reason to me that was the most disturbing image of the episode. Was
Both
like,
him and Evil.
They
looked
focused on it a lot.
So gross.
Well, I definitely recognized it as Garmin Bozia when Bad Coop puked, but when Dougie puked, it looked darker. It looked more like chili.
Well, because then when
there was blood too.
Yeah, it was like,
it was
like an organ.
gross.
Yeah,
Gross.
when
Yeah, it was
Tan
really bad.
Coop puked, it
was
started
definitely
off
Garmin
yellow,
Bozia.
and then it moved to black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
So,
notice that.
and then
Yeah.
that's why like everyone got sick when they were around like whatever the vomit is.
Right.
Yep.
So like when the cop was like, "What's going on?" and he's like,
Yeah, it's like
I just figured
toxic
Garmin
vomit.
Bozia itself could be like that toxic in the real.
Could be.
Could
yeah.
"Oh, that's true."
But this Dougie puked it up. And it was funny how Jade comes in and, like, she notices, well, when there's the switch of Dougie.
The switch of
Dougie for Coop. She notices his suit and his haircut and then notices the vomit. Like, I'd be like, number one,
What the fuck?
vomit. Yeah, so.
But I love how everyone's just like, "Huh, you got skinnier,
Better
your hair's
suit,
better,
good haircut.
and, like this nice fitting suit,
Different
They
color."
comment on the suit all the time.
Dougie's done good for himself, even though he
really
can't
good.
coherently speak a sentence.
This also bothers me as well.
Right.
Throughout the whole 2 episodes, I want Tom you to just start speaking in half phrases and see how far you get.
Right.
Like, how much will
Okay.
people?
I know. I
Yeah.
can't wait for regular
Call
Coop
for
to
help.
come back. That's one thing. I understand what they're doing. If you had spent 25 years in the Black Lodge, you'd have a hard time
Right.
speaking and interacting with people too.
Mr. Jackpots.
Mr. Jackpot.
Mr. Jackpots. It's a great
And
name.
it is kind of funny, but I'm ready for regular. We get 2 episodes of like stunted development, good Coop.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we don't know how much longer it's going to go on.
I know, it
for.
might go on forever. It's like the Little Mermaid. I'm like, just get your voice back, Ariel. Come on. Just kiss him.
So,
Maybe
yeah.
he just needs to kiss.
That homeless lady in the casino
back.
Yes.
who gets all her money for the next 4 years from his jackpot
Right.
tips.
I know.
So regular Dougie, regular schmo who was, we kind of
Manufactured.
learn, yeah, he was
manufactured,
manufactured
the
for
one-
a
Yeah.
purpose, but now the purpose has been fulfilled, is
Yes.
what Mike, the one-armed man, says when
Yes.
Dougie is taken back into the Black Lodge in exchange for real Coop.
Right.
It's hard with so many Coops.
I think he says, I think the purpose has been fulfilled.
Right, and then that's
he's not
when-
100%
Oh,
sure.
is that
Yeah, and even
Throw
though
that
he's
out
not
there.
100% sure, it's enough to shrivel him into
Yeah.
a little gold ball.
He
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
into a black head, the head throws up, and then Dougie is now a bead. Those
Yeah.
are my notes.
Poor Dougie.
Yeah, it looked like the arms head.
Yeah, that's what
For a
I
second.
thought too.
The arms shrank and then the ring fell off.
Right.
And then his head just was a black void of.
Yeah.
No, but-
Yeah.
It looked like the arm, like the new arm, aka nerve ending tree.
Yeah.
It looked like the head from that for a second.
Oh.
Before he turned into a pearl.
Gumball.
Like
That's-
inside
yeah.
the black
Boy,
smoke.
if you tried to just listen to this podcast without watching the show, you would have problems. Like
Yeah.
that, we're talking about like nerve-ending gumball head trees. And, like, it would be very challenging.
No, and then what I noticed was so someone's trying to kill Dougie. He seems to be in like a lot of debt.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
like there's these 2 guys, and I don't know if they're gonna continue with this storyline.
Right?
of,
I
like-
kind of hope they don't. I don't
know.
care about Dougie.
I know. So then they try to blow up they put something under the car so the car can blow up, and then it cuts to a kid looking at it.
Right.
And then Meth Mom is what
Meth
Oh,
I
I
Mom.
hated Meth Mom.
She says 119. 119.
Yes, that was
Not more
number thing.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I thought
I put
maybe
divisible by 3. right? So that's something.
I thought she was going to say 1:20, time for my pill or something.
Yeah.
Well, I also thought she was maybe talking backwards too and calling 911.
That makes so much more sense.
So, where it's more like red room or
red
like
room.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when you are a Twin Peaks viewer. You start doing things like that's divisible by 3 rather than thinking backwards for 911 because you're just going so deep into the Lynch spiral that when he throws something like...
Well, we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I think you're right, though. That's like dead on. Yeah. And why are we introduced to that character? What's with Rancho Rosa, that community that they go in to use as a... sex home.
Is it also one of the producing companies as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Because it comes up in the beginning.
Double R.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should talk. That's a good point, Pat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
So many layers. Yeah, so Rancho Rosa is the name of... It looks almost like the community in Arrested Development that's like empty model homes. Yeah.
What do you feel?
It's a salad dressing, but I don't want to eat it.
Here's a fun fact. If you're going to buy in a model home type of community, a hooker has been inside.
Yeah, which was something I didn't know, but now makes so much sense. Like, after watching them, like, oh... yeah, that's what model homes are used for.
You just gotta come to terms with that.
How do we know it was a model home? Did they say that?
Well, she unlocked because it was empty.
Well, yeah.
And then she undid it had one
of
those
real estate lockboxes.
Yeah, so she pressed the buttons to get in and out.
Oh,
yeah. So in the picture of like Rancho Rosa was like blonde, perfect, smiling people. Yeah. So there's some significance to that, but I don't know if we'll ever revisit there or not. Then that makes sense too with the meth head woman. She's squatting in one of the homes. Like,
could be.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't just purchase a model home. As I assumed, I'm like, wow, she lives in a really nice community for being a meth mom, but probably not. Yeah. So
I was at Rose's Jazz Club last night. There's so many like Twin Peaks flavored buildings in Chicago.
There are. You start to see it everywhere.
Me and Kelly were having just a walk down the street, and she's like, once you get into the Lynchfords, you can just see it everywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's why when my Uber driver didn't put any music on, I was like, well, this is the day I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Because there's no music in the soundtrack. Like, it's complete silence. It's just us.
Except that there's like some white noise just in the back. Like, yeah, that's terrifying.
Just a traffic noise.
Yeah.
It gets really creepy.
You could ask them to put on music, you know.
I know.
That is true.
Instead, I just texted
You think that
Kelly,
will save your life?
And I also sent you a screenshot of all of the information saying there's no music playing.
Right.
In case you don't hear from me.
So I call him and I'm like, excuse me, sir, I know what you're up to. You're not playing music. You're clearly trying to bring Melissa into the Black Lodge.
I do wonder about the ones who don't put on music. Are they waiting for you to ask them to put on music, or do they just...
They probably just figure, like...
do they prefer...
They leave it neutral unless you ask for something.
Yeah.
I just like a nice, small background.
Yeah, so that you don't have to feel like you have to make small talk.
Yeah,
exactly.
I do not want to.
Sometimes you do, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut.
I know.
Sometimes you don't. In the midst of all this, like, 3 Coops, we do get a nice comedic relief scene, I think. I could see other people being like, this scene is silly. But Hawk, Andy, Lucy... with the do not disturb sign that said donut. So cute.
At first I thought they just want you to disturb them with donuts. Like, please you can come in if you have donuts.
It's a double meaning there.
Probably, yeah.
But they're going through the 3 of them to try and find out what's missing. And Lucy, there's so many good lines. Lucy goes, "You're an Indian." It's like, yes, Lucy.
Yes, Lucy.
It's a very slow scene
something to do
with the 3 of them.
heritage.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out what's missing, and Lucy freaks out because she thinks that because she ate one of the chocolate bunnies, that's what caused...
That's the missing thing.
Right, that's the
that
missing
could be
thing.
I am glad that Hawk goes, you ate the evidence?
Right.
Yeah, I know.
It was only
Lucy,
once.
you
I never did it again. And she, like, cries. And then Auntie goes, like... Pumpkin, do you want me to get you a chocolate bunny? Like, he's
I could get more chocolate.
Yeah, he's just addressing the issue right at hand. It's so cute. And then
I
Hawk...
think he's saying punky.
Punky, yeah.
Punky.
Punky.
That's what subtitle said anyway.
Punky,
No, you're right.
do you want me to get you a chocolate bunny? And she's so ashamed that she ate the bunny. And then Hawk, like, really considers and goes, no, it's not about the bunny. There's probably no point to that scene except that we needed a little, like, old school sheriff's department rigmarole.
Yeah. They're like the one thing that's still
sweet.
Yeah. But even the sheriff's department has changed.
Yes, as I started to spoil last podcast.
Yeah, I caught some of those spoilers this time around.
Damn it.
I mean, I didn't know what they meant until I saw it.
But it's true. The sheriff's department does start to change, and it makes, like, Lucy, Andy, and Hawk seem kind of older and, like,
stuck
more
in
old
time.
school.
Though Lucy has aged really well, don't you think?
She has.
Yeah.
She looks great.
She looks good.
She does. We have one more scene of Jacoby's, like, Rube Goldberg machine that makes gold shovels.
He paints the shovels, yeah.
I think that was the first scene, because you guys also said that something about the painting shovels gold last time.
He had the shovels delivered.
And this time he painted them gold.
Yeah.
That was another spoiler.
Probably could have been just one scene, but we gotta go slow and deliberately in the Lynchiverse.
I know, it kind of annoys me.
Sometimes too.
Yeah, like every scene is like 20% too long. That's my problem with Twin Peaks right now.
I was saying last time too. It's just like there's just like that extra 2 beats that you're like, all right, we can move on.
They just sped up the action like a little bit.
You know, it's I hear what you're saying. I think it's also it's two things. Like, I think we as viewers have just changed the way that we watch TV.
Right.
And David Lynch, who is about transcendental meditation and, like, he just wants you to put away your phones and pay attention and, like, slow down, and, like, you're going to have to do things on his time. And sometimes it's, like, riveting and amazing, and I realize that I've been just staring at Coop doing one small subtle thing, and then sometimes it does, like, go too far, where I'm like, did we need 2 of Jacoby's scenes?
The second episode, or episode 4, part 4, like that one is what I was like, okay, just every single scene I was just like, all right, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
Just, like, walk a little faster, move your arm a little, like, let's get this done.
A lot of development of, like, Coop into, like, what needed, like, the plot thing was, like, Coop gets a lot of money and finds out that he's married to Naomi Watts. And, like, that's kind of what needs to happen, but it happens in, like, 10 scenes in, like, the slowest. But, but then will he then later pay it off and speed everything up? You know, it's certainly possible. It's certainly possible, but I agree.
He's not going to speed things up.
Not speed it up. But, like, if you think about Twin Peaks, like, the series, there were those episodes that were like, what happened in this episode? Almost nothing. And then some episodes where it's just like 25 things happened.
True.
You know?
True.
We remember those because we took notes about it.
Yes.
And we're like,
but there was just a lot going on in the original series.
Yes.
Like, with many, many side plots. And,
right. This is much slowed down.
So this is like basically just one.
And there was also
plot,
like an
that's
game for the series where it's who killed Laura Palmer.
Right.
While here it's more like, what's going on with everything? It's very open ended.
Right.
There's not like an end game and
Right.
a
feel like
or a goal.
I hate to retroactively predict, but I was going to predict that, like, this return was going to be like good versus bad Cooper. And, like, I think, like, that's, like, sort of, the, like, the overarching story is, like, which Cooper is going to end up back in the Black Lodge.
Right.
And which Cooper is going to be here on Earth.
Well,
that seems to be the... Because Mike says one of you have to die.
Right. Yeah, I think that's pretty...
So either one of them back in the Black Lodge or one of them dead, I guess.
So while we're on this part of the show, like, that we're talking about with this transit, like, Dougie awakening as new good Coop, like, what do you guys think that symbol was, like, on top of the slot machines when he would see a winner? It looked
it's
like
the
a little
chevrons and the red curtain.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, it was like an animated version of the Red Room.
Yep.
Oh, I got
Just so...
If you tweet now, too, like, if you hashtag Twin Peaks, it's the little chevron curtains, the floor and the curtains.
Was that before or after this episode?
It was after the return.
Okay. Wow, that's
so like when you hashtag Twin Peaks, it's automatically giving you this little emoji.
That's That's
very
that's
cool.
Great.
So that's what was like above there was like little entrances to the red.
It looked like a little red mountain with like a sun above it to me.
I think there was some
small.
fire on top of it too.
Yeah.
So you had the fire, the curtains, and the chevrons.
So
some kind of light source above the curtains.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Coop has come back with some sort of power of intuition, maybe from the Black Lodge, Red Room, whatever you want to call it. Some of that scene is funny. I mean, he definitely I like the
hello.
Oh yeah, I wanted to
start
that, or we could end that.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Wait, is this getting into 4? I'm just trying to keep my way.
That's the end of 3, and
yeah. And I like the old lady. She's an interesting character. Like, she's sort of scary, but sort of endearing.
But it's kind of sad because she's one of those gamblers that you see if your bars have slot machines or slot things where it's just suddenly you feel sad.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in casinos in Vegas, and they don't let homeless ladies like that in the casino.
Right.
Like if you're dressed like that, you're not with like dirt all over you. You're not getting in.
Well, and I would imagine they wouldn't let Cooper keep winning and going and going.
Yeah, they would have stopped him after the second one for sure.
That seems a little.
You hit 2 jackpots in 2 minutes. They're pulling you into an office and asking you some questions.
Yeah, they stopped him after the 30th.
Yeah, they waited until 30 and then gave him the money. They were just in a big wad of cash. Which there's so many casino inaccuracies here.
Right, they do.
First of all, casinos haven't used quarters in their real quarters in their machines since 15 years ago.
But it sure looks dramatic when they sparkle out.
Yeah, but now that you just print out a ticket with your winnings, then use that for your next machine.
That makes a lot more sense.
And put in bills.
That's not as fun.
But this is like a big spurt of stuff.
I know, that's why I was like, are we maybe in Reno, not Vegas?
But no.
It's the Silver Mustang.
Well, I don't know where the Silver Mustang is supposed to be, but that house scene is definitely shot in Vegas. The exteriors, because I recognize the mountain range around there. I used to drive for UPS in Vegas, and
wow.
I know I've probably been in that subdivision that they filmed in.
Rancho Rosa.
And we've already visited Las Vegas once with the billionaire.
Right.
So
Which is it the same casino? Or we don't know.
We don't know.
That the billionaire.
It could be.
Yeah, that the billionaire owns.
Yeah,
and
that might be the same.
This is
maybe
building up for a Dougie real Coop to meet whoever billionaire is.
Right.
So.
Please be. Oh no, it can't be Audrey because they said he.
Yeah. The billionaires or the casino guys. He.
But the scene, it is kind of a fun scene, the Mr. Jackpot stuff. It's kind of fun. They probably do, to your earlier point, 3 too many. Yeah. I like the woman who kind of follows him around and is like, oh, it's a lot more money than that. She's just being super helpful.
Would you like a bigger bucket?
Yeah.
Sir?
There is kind of a darker commentary here that's happening where Coop keeps saying call for help because Jade had said that. And everyone he meets can see that something's wrong with him, and no one's helping him.
Just because he looks like $1 million, so they're
right.
Well,
it just goes to show how if you're not looking for something to be wrong, you don't see a problem. You know, if you're just assuming he's drunk or you're not gonna. But the one girl. The girlfriend of his friend,
the Boy Meets World guy.
Was that? Oh my God, you're right.
Ethan Suplee.
He's the bully in Boy Meets World.
Yes, he's the bully.
Yeah, and he lives on Lancelot Court. You find out.
The Red Door.
Oh, you mean the guy from My Name Is Earl?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's also in Boy Meets World. He's one of the
I never
bullies.
watched that show.
He was Dougie's friend who was like, no, this is my hot dog.
Yeah, that was great. He's just
yeah.
looking at the hot dog. There's
He's
significant.
I haven't eaten since breakfast.
And it's weird because at the start of that scene, you assume the woman with bully guy doesn't know Dougie because just the man is introducing himself again. He's like, hey, Dougie, it's me. Whatever my name.
Yeah.
And the woman's just standing there, but then she starts acting like she totally knows him almost as well as he does.
But I also think she's more something's off here.
Woman's intuition.
Go home, maybe we should take you home. I think something's wrong. This dude's not right. That was the only woman who was finally this is weird.
That's exactly what I thought was just a woman being this guy's not okay. Yeah. And everyone's just kind of ignoring that he does need some help.
a girls' room when people are drunk. Everyone's very friendly.
Yeah.
They love to help each other out.
Yes, it's true. Yeah. I think there's some significance in Lancelot Court. This is Twin Peaks nerd out moment. Because, the Sycamore thing is in Glastonbury Grove, which is a Arthur reference. And...
Also, they drive down Sycamore Street.
Yes, Sycamore Street. Yeah.
Yes, and Cooper was kind of the Lancelot in the Cooper, Wyndham Earle, Carolyn love triangle. I'm sure it's nothing more than that, but like everything means something in Twin Peaks.
The red door.
The red door.
The red room,
Yeah.
And then while they're standing outside the house, an owl goes by.
Yeah, I love the driver.
Driver's like, that's creepy.
Yeah. It's like a very self-referential.
I was asked to take your husband home.
That was my last inaccuracy. Besides the one running around to help with the buckets, they would never ever give you cash. You'd get a cashier's check, maybe, or more likely a bank transfer.
And what was their motivation behind being like, do you want a room? Do you want some company on the house?
High rollers.
They would do that hoping that he gambles it and loses it back to the casino. Law of casinos is the more time your players spend in the casino, the more money they lose. So.
I see. I was like, he's already don't you want to get him out?
But in real life, if you just won 30 jackpots, they would not be saying, please stay and play more.
I'm no gambler, but I think they're gambling with themselves. I don't know if we're at Naomi Watts sequentially, but I want to share Naomi Watts' theory. So Naomi Watts is Dougie's wife, and I think there's this whole thing with like the Lynchiverse is all of these different universes in one, and they kind of are this, like they're all connected by this like Black Lodge. And in Mulholland Drive, Naomi Watts' character kind of is two characters, in that like in the beginning she's this like fake, almost perfect, like starstruck woman going to Hollywood, and then it shifts realities when she goes into this place that's kind of like a Black Lodge Red Room, and she becomes like this person who's totally down in her luck and like has a horrible life and ends up dying, and like, sorry, spoilers from Mulholland Drive. And so I think like we don't know which one's the real Naomi Watts, and I think Naomi Watts in this is just another version of this same kind of blonde Lynch woman who just is living these different universes.
The third Naomi Watts.
Right. And she's kind of doing this sort of semi-bad acting thing that seems like on purpose that Lynch sometimes has his actresses do.
She thrives at that.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad acting, the lady FBI agent,
Krista Bell.
Yeah.
Tammy is her character's name.
Yeah, don't confuse me when I finally get the name right. Come on. Like, I feel like David was casting with his you-know-what for that role, because she is totally talentless and jaw-droppingly gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think she's an actress.
She also
she's not an actress.
With her hips, which I know is deliberate, but like she's also super skinny.
Right.
So it just comes off
so sexual in every movement.
Yeah, her first scene where she's just giving dialogue, sitting at the table, she's like shaking her shoulders a little bit with every single word. It's like really
you need
weird.
To gain 25 pounds, put it in your boobs and your butt, and then you can be like sultry.
Right. She's kind of the new Audrey in that like her motor never stops running. She's always just like moving like snake-like. Yeah. And of course, Cole, kind of rightfully so, gets accused of bringing her on this case because he's thinking with his little head. So it's funny that like
Denise accuses him of the very thing.
Right. It's funny that like David Lynch like draws attention.
Like I know why she's here too.
But they have a weird relationship. Like Krista Bell and David Lynch. He's like, they released an album together. They were like set up by their, like not set up romantically, but set up as artistic partners by their publicists or something.
Really?
And they released this album together called Sway With Me, or Swing With Me, or whatever, the one song that she sings. And she was kind of like a a cabaret torch singer is how she's described. And he wrote kept calling her in public repeatedly his new muse. So that's like her role in his life. And of course she's into TM. Yeah, she's into,
Transcendental meditation.
So Gordon Cole, like, it's interesting that he then writes in the same plot line.
A small, maybe not sugar daddy sexually, but at least working sugar daddy through David Lynch, you're going to get into whatever he's into.
Right.
You're going to be like,
Everyone who...
meditation.
I'll meditate.
I'll do that.
Everyone who meets him, it becomes a convert of transcendental meditation. And it seems genuinely like they get into it.
That seemed to be the point of that concert.
Yeah.
That we watched.
Well, the funny thing is, like, she's not a great actress. She is, like, intoxicatingly beautiful and interesting to watch. And, like... I did think she was a really great singer, and she's got a beautiful singing voice. It's like sometimes you just want to say, if you wanted to use her, why couldn't you just have her be like a torch singer in the Bang Bang Bar?
The Bang Bang Bar,
right.
Because
instead of why put someone? It's like Albert Einstein says, like if you try and have what's that quote where he's like, a bird can go its whole life thinking it's dumb if you try and make it swim, or something about a fit. Like, it's just like, don't put her in put a square peg in a round hole. Like, she's a beautiful woman and a gorgeous singer. Just have her sing.
Yeah, because we've had the chromatics and then the
the
cactus
chromatics
blossoms
so
at the end of episode 3.
Yeah.
And then another band at
Great
the end of episode
bands.
4, so I like how they're ending the episode.
Right, they could have easily... Now they can't use her that way.
Right.
Now if they can't have her just burst into song since she's the FBI agent. Like, waste.
Now she's in it.
Now she's in it. I want to talk about, of course, Denise.
I also just want to bring it back to that Gordon has a red phone, like on Batman.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
That's the only thing I know. It's like, he got a call from his bat phone, and Cooper's been found.
And they're so, it's so clear that Albert and Gordon love Cooper so much. They just have such an extreme reaction. But, there's a visit.
25 years later, and they're like, what?
That would be insane. I mean, I'd be like... there's a scene with Denise and Gordon. I think... do we think that Denise is supposed to have, fully transitioned at this point?
I think she talks about hormones.
Right.
Too.
So I think that that's a change.
You don't have to have the sex change operation,
right.
Though,
but now Denise is not, transvestite. Now she's transgender.
Right,
it's a full transition because talking about hormones and using pronouns and everything. Yeah. And I thought it was a really trans-positive scene. I loved when Coop said, "I told your colleagues to fix their hearts or die," about Denise.
And there could be more than one beautiful woman.
Oh my God.
In the FBI.
I loved that line.
Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Such a good scene. I love that David Duchovny doesn't overplay it one bit, not at all. I mean, not that David Duchovny is never overplays anything.
No.
If anything, he underplays some things. You're like, was he
upset
shocked, upset, happy? The face is kind of the same. But really good scene, and I like everything that... I like all the dialogue there, too. You were a confused and wild thing sometimes.
I had enough dirt to bury you with.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Right.
I didn't use a spoonful of it.
Yeah. Gordon Cole just talks like he's in a Raymond Carver, he's got that noir kind of speak.
Yes.
Also because he's yelling.
Yeah, I think that's just David Lynch's voice.
It's so
I
great.
didn't want to yell at your table.
And then I love David Duchovny saying, "Don't you just love saying Federal Bureau of Investigation uninterrupted sometimes?" It's just that scene's so perfect.
They love the FBI. I'll tell you.
They do. I'm really happy that they found a nice way to bring Denise in. We see Denise succeeding as a trans woman.
She's the chief of staff.
Yes. Although, to be fair, and I think you made this point, a little strange that, the primary concern is that Gordon Cole's bringing along a hot young girl. Instead of, oh my God, we found Cooper.
Yeah. Hey, just so you know, Gordon, Coop's cool. But let's not try anything with the redhead that you're with.
I'm not sure chief of staff of the FBI is a real position. There's the director of the FBI.
But that's what she said because I
know.
know.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
That's what said. But
I would Google it too.
you can be a chief of staff in the White House who also is something in the FBI. I think.
Right.
And it's gotta be really exhausting to be like taking off that wig and running into the basement to be Mulder, like all the time, like crazy. Just so happy to see. I'm sure that's all we'll see of Denise, but that was enough. Like that was perfect. It was a good little scene.
I want to make like a super sped up version of Twin Peaks, all these episodes with like Benny Hill soundtrack behind it.
David Duchovny comes in, David Duchovny goes out. Done with that.
Yeah.
Just super, super fast.
Yeah. So we talked about Denise. It's amazing. If you had asked me to predict what former cast members would have a lot of screen time, I don't think I would have said Lucy. She's kind of had like the most of any of the female
Lucy, Andy, and Hawk.
Lucy, Andy, and Hawk.
I also feel like those are the ones that did come back without any probably
hesitation.
They're like, oh, a job? Done.
For sure.
Yes, please.
No problem.
I'll take that.
And they're all wonderful. I'm liking those scenes because those are kind of like our comedic relief sweet scenes.
It's what brings us. It cuts the other stuff.
It cuts the Garmin Bozia with a little bit of cinnamon or something.
Bobby is now a police officer.
It's always
a deputy or something.
It's always the troublemakers who then become the cops.
I had to be like, is that Bobby? Because he looks pretty different. Like I didn't recognize.
He looks good.
He looks
good. He's toned down a little bit. It makes complete sense to me as a character choice that Bobby would have become a cop,
right.
And that he's a good guy now.
And again, what bothers me is that Lucy doesn't understand how fucking cell phone works.
Why are they making her dumb?
How
she's not.
Yeah, it's just
that was weird. Unless it's a comment at her being kind of trapped in the past. It's she and Andy and Hawk, especially when you see...
There's probably a purpose to it.
Yeah.
Even though as annoying as it is, there is... And everyone agrees that that's kind of annoying.
When they go into the back room and you see that the sheriff's department has technology and has a full staff, it's drawing attention to Lucy, Andy, and Hawk are in the past and archaic. Yeah. And even when one of the other cops says, what's his name?
Chad.
The dick.
I said Chad's a dick. That's
Chad's a dick. When he says about the log lady being kooky, it's Lucy and Andy and Hawk that are how dare you? Yeah. But to the new sheriff's department people, they're excuse me, why are we taking advice from the log lady? Why are we ever using Tibetan method? And none of this makes sense.
Truman's brother.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that.
Sheriff Frank Truman is kind of the
in the
mediator.
Middle.
Yeah.
He's not as old school as Harry was.
As Harry and Andy.
I think you can probably insinuate that he brought on this new tech and this new group.
Right.
He's the one who comes in with his cell phone and says sorry Andy, I couldn't just wait out there for Lucy to get a grip.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he also is very annoyed by Wally Brennan. Michael Cera.
Yes, let's the Wally Brando scene.
You're either going to love it or you're going to hate
There's a man outside claiming he wants to pay his respects to the sheriff.
Frank's just
God,
no.
Oh, and also it's your son.
Yeah.
It's
Wally.
Andy and
there's
Lucy's
Michael
son.
Cera on a Harley and wearing 50s style riding leathers.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Say Wally.
That's his name.
Yeah, he's Brando's character from the Rebel Without a Cause. Yeah. Only he's doing he's dropping Godfather references for the first 5
And what
lines.
are some of the Godfather references?
He does oh man, I can't remember.
He's just speaking in a Brando. He's
my Godfather.
Right.
Oh, okay.
He says, he says something when he's saying, I wanted to pay my respects. He's basically, he's doing Luca Brasi from the wedding scene.
Oh, yeah, the wedding scene.
Yeah. Okay. He has, and every line he says is arduously Brando. My favorite is, my shadow is always with me. Sometimes ahead, sometimes behind, sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right. Except on cloudy days or at night. And of course he does it flawlessly. I think it's a great scene.
It was my favorate scene because it was so like just. I mean,
great scene.
Because he also comes back to let my parents know that they can do whatever they want to my childhood room. They really want to make us. They really want to do a study, and Lucy's just like.
They're kind people. He's so like condescending about Lucy and Auntie too. Like he loves them, but he's like
my parents.
And Lucy and Andy in that scene too are super funny with their just beaming with pride reactions, looking at their son and their little tableau that they're posed in.
All they do is look at Wally and then look at the sheriff.
Yeah, like isn't he amazing?
And
then the sheriff is like, "May the road always rise to meet your wheels." And he's like, "My dharma is the road. Your dharma." And then he just gives like this gesture that's encompassing all of Twin Peaks. With one arm somehow.
Oh my
God. It's a beautiful turn of phrase. Everything he says is so poetic, which is so opposite Lucy and Andy.
Dharma is the Buddhist concept of duty, by the way.
Yes. And you maybe
spiritual duty.
Oh yeah, well we can't say that Wally was maybe Lucy got into Tibetan stuff because of reading that big Tibet book because of Coop.
And yes, this is how he knows about
And I like to think that, like, Michael Cera was a giant Twin Peaks fan, of course, because he's the type who would be, and, like, knew he wanted to somehow get involved, and this was, like, a perfect role for him.
I mean, he's kind of goofy looking like Andy.
What do you think the odds are he comes back?
I don't think so.
Not too good.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Not necessary, too. It was a perfect scene. Sure. It was, like, beautiful. He also gave us...
I wish he'd come back, but
I know.
He probably won't.
I know. He also gave us the information that Harry's sick. And he hopes that Harry gets better soon. We wish that Harry would get better. I like Frank. I think Frank's doing a good job, but I mean, I miss Harry. I really do.
Well, and they don't really work as brothers because, like, the new guy has like this New York accent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But other than that,
well, doesn't make much sense.
Another great moment when they have all of the case files laid out in the conference room, and Bobby comes in and they've got Laura's picture, and they do the heavy-handed Laura's theme music, and Bobby's eyes like well up real dramatically, and the new sheriff's department people are like, what is going on with this kid? And it's kind of poking fun at itself, and then Bobby's like, sorry, it brings back a lot of memories, which was really, really cute. Like, really funny.
Palmer.
They're, like, making fun of themselves a lot in this episode, which I like. I hate to use the word meta because it's so so pretentious, but that's the perfect word for what they're doing.
Yeah. But we also find out that Cooper was the last person to see Major Briggs alive.
Yes.
And then Major Briggs died at the fire station the next day.
Right.
Fire at the station.
Fire at the
Coop
station.
probably killed Major Briggs somehow.
Oh, interesting.
I just got that vibe. Like,
yeah.
It was evil Coop who would have had to have seen
it. That's, for some reason I did not pick up on that.
Bad Coop.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's got to be true.
And then I also feel like because the sheriff tells Bobby, as cop Bobby, that a kid OD'd in the high school. So I feel like there's going to be some drug.
He talks about the Chinese drug.
They never say if the kid died or not. Like, they sort of imply that he did, but, like, I don't know, like, OD doesn't mean they died necessarily.
OD does not mean they died, but I think that in this case...
They're sort of playing, like, but they don't make it clear. That's all I'm saying.
Got out.
That's it, yeah.
I think they do say that he... I think later on they say that he had died.
Oh, okay. Maybe
and
later.
Do they insinuate that Bobby is doing Bobby's doing some sort of surveillance? He has surveillance cameras on the forest. And he mentions...
Because he knows all of the
drug routes.
Yeah.
Right.
From up north.
And also because Hawk's like, and let's just keep an eye on Sycamore Grove in case like something happens. But like... I also, in the sheriff's department classic lack of prioritization, Bobby gets pulled off his work with the Chinese designer drug ring and pulled into, like, the missing Coop investigation. Like, they just don't know how to prioritize their workload there. Like, probably
something involving Coop
is always the most important. Yeah. I do like having Chad, the jerk cop, that just shows us, there's a lot of, like, old sheriff's department, new sheriff's department.
He's just kind of bewildered by these people.
they're like, why are they listening to this woman? Why is it like this? And Frank is like, have a little respect for the process of these weirdos. Like,
this guy's Indian.
Right.
Indian.
He can track stuff. Come on. So we have to talk about the actual evil Coop meets
Gordon
Cole and Albert.
Yep, that's where we're at.
Ooh, really good. Albert's so good. So sad about him. He did a great job.
Albert also gives you that little bit of cut from the drama.
Yeah.
Which is nice because they land in South Dakota and Gordon goes, we're not anywhere near Mount Rushmore now. Albert goes, here, I brought a picture.
Yeah, and he knows how to take care of his little buddy Cole. Like, they just love each other.
I want to see it.
Yeah, they have a great relationship. We learned some very important plot stuff, but first we have the actual interview with Coop, the evil Coop.
I need to be debriefed by you, Gordon.
Yeah, he's speaking in this like low,
really low,
slow,
voice.
Slow.
It seems like it's tonally distorted a little bit.
I was a little bit behind schedule.
Yeah.
Here's what was found in his trunk.
Yeah.
Cocaine, a machine gun, and a dog's leg.
Right. That was pretty great,
And then
too.
Albert's like, oh, no cheese and crackers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of like a list of things, we never talked about like that list of like clues that...
For the first case that they were initially working on, when they were working on, do you think that that's going to come back?
I think it will.
Oh, it is, yeah, but I think that's why they're holding this Coop, because they found his fingerprints at the crime scene of the murder.
But this was even before when we first started introduced to
Tom's
Tammy.
talking about the picture that they found when they're were first introduced to Tammy.
No,
they're
I don't
debriefing
think
on another
think that's
case
related.
That has
That's
like a.
I don't think it's related, but I think it's gonna come back. Like it's
Probably,
There's like a gun, like a bag of beans. Am I thinking about a different show that I watched today? Okay.
No, there's a picture of like a naked lady.
Yeah.
There's a picture of
two tan
ladies, a little boy in like a sailor suit, and a gun.
And then a jar of beans.
Yes, it probably will be significant. But I think we should probably talk about the scene with Evil Coop.
Fine. I want to talk about beans.
If I had to choose which would be more significant, I would guess this one. But yeah, and we learn later when Gordon says something about his greeting left me cold, if you get my meaning. So they must have had a code greeting that they had established to be like, everything's all right, and Evil Coop didn't use it. So Cole knows right away, like, something is wrong. At least that's my theory with that.
And I feel like Tan Coop, Evil Coop, same thing. Doesn't acknowledge...
Tan equals evil.
Right. Yes. Does not acknowledge Albert at all.
Right.
Which is also, I assume he
right.
can see it, but he just focused on Gordon, like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he does, like...
I missed our friendship.
And he does the thumbs up. It's like he has this, like, database of Coop stuff, but it's 25 years old, so he's just trying to pull out what he can, and it's not coming fast enough.
Yeah.
Because he says, too, about working undercover with Philip Jeffries, which was David Bowie's character, who had... So isn't it amazing? Like, we did have to watch Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah. You cannot come into this without having some background.
You gotta be like a scholar.
And it's lucky that we're doing this podcast because we're also taking notes and we're diving in depth. Like, if I was just watching this casually, I would be like, nah.
Screwed. Yeah.
I'm good.
It's true. Yeah, so there is... He tells them that he was working with Philip Jeffries, and then later Albert reveals to Gordon that he did get a call from
Philip. Philip called him.
Yeah.
And he said Cooper needed this info.
Right.
And Albert told Philip who their man was in Colombia.
And the next day,
that man's killed.
Then he was killed the next day.
And
or a week later,
Cole's like, Albert, you done messed up. Like, is his reaction. But they're friends, and you can tell, like, he's going to try and... Because he does send Tammy away, too.
Yeah, Cooper's like, oh, I'm feeling better already. She walks away.
Oh, yeah. Albert is, like, into it, too. Which is, like, they keep making so many references to how hot Tammy is. It's like... let her just be hot and like don't reference it every second.
I thought it was Albert being like, she's annoying the fuck out of me.
Oh, I thought it was because he was watching her ass as she was walking.
No, that's not what I got.
I was just listening, and I got what Kelly got.
Oh,
when I was watching that part.
But either or it could be both. Like she's annoying and I enjoy watching her ass, which is even worse. Right. Like let her just be hot and leave it alone.
Because she's
don't
wearing
reference
a
it.
wire, which was interfering with his ear stuff, I think.
Right.
So that's why
yes.
It's like maybe you should go to the diner and wait.
Right.
She's like, you asked me to wear this wire.
But also, I think he's telling her to go because he has a feeling Albert's about to reveal something that could put Albert in jeopardy, and he knows Tammy will play by the book, and he doesn't want Albert to be in trouble.
Agree.
So a lot of like FBI dynamic going on here. I like how Cole reacts to Evil Cooper, like he is reassuring but says nothing. Like Evil Cooper is saying, so I'm sure you're going to get me out of this, right? And he's like, tomorrow's another day, or just says something that isn't
like, these
confirming.
Fine fellows have sufficient cause to keep you here.
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
And then they go, we can keep him for 2 days. And he's like, has he had his personal phone call?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, no. And he's like, give him his private phone call. Give it to him. And I want to hear all about it.
Yes. Yeah. He has an interesting line, too. He says to Gordon, I never really left home, Gordon. And that's kind of parallels what is happening with, not with a regular Coop, good Coop, trying to go home. There's this idea of like home going on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff.
Home.
And then they talk about, is it a Blue Rose case? Totally Blue Rose, Albert
this
says.
Is like,
this
Not
is like
bluer.
Yeah,
it couldn't be any bluer.
Couldn't be bluer. He called and said Cooper needed info urgently. Yeah. It's so that I also made a note, Laura in Twin Peaks, the original series, when she's describing there's a scene where Donna is reading Laura's diary, and in the diary Laura describes her dream with Cooper, and she says his speech was slow and odd. And that was exactly how I felt like Evil Cooper's speech was.
That's true.
Slow and odd.
Yeah,
so everything
I
deliberate.
thought that meant the Black
Black Lodge,
speech.
not Evil Cooper.
But,
regular Cooper in the Black Lodge. There's
Right.
so many Kyle MacLachlans. In my notes, I literally, just so that I don't have to keep writing like Evil Cooper, I have Coop with two little horns on top for Evil Cooper.
What do you do for Dougie?
For Dougie, I just write Dougie.
Dougie's
gone, I think.
Yeah.
So now it's only two Coopers.
It was only a short time where we had 3.
This is how many code things
Too bad.
are in this series. I was looking through my notes and I see 1 pollo, 2 carne asada. What was that about? That was our order for last week. I was like, what is that a reference to? We gotta unpack that. It's a code about something. Yeah.
The tacos you want.
Taco order.
At the very end of that scene between Gordon and Albert, they say, we need one certain person to take a look at Cooper. And Albert says, I know where she drinks. My little heart was aflutter, hoping and praying that it's Audrey. We don't know that yet who it is.
Diane.
Yeah, and Melissa thinks
Could be
Diane, which is a
Diane.
cool theory
Yeah.
Because who knows Cooper better?
than Diane.
Diane.
Yeah.
Could be. I always pictured Diane as much older than Cooper, so in my mind she's like dead now or in a home, but who knows?
I think Diane's going to be played by Laura Linney. Just because I know Lynch really loves her. I know she's in it. Diane's a much speculated upon role. It feels like that'll be her.
And I would feel like Diane was the secretary, so she's going to be a younger thing.
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like she would have been like the young thing.
Yeah, Diane's it's a good guess. The only reason I could, if Audrey went the way that I wanted her to go, of, becoming an FBI agent, I could see them then being she's kept in touch and, been obsessively following this case, which I could see if she is involved in a non-Black Lodge type of character, which is certainly possible that they just throw her in a Black Lodge scene for 2 seconds, which would really piss me off. But if she's not, if she's a real world character, I think a good role for her would be someone who has been trying to find Coop, because she would be
Could
like
be the
fixated.
She could be the billionaire
Yeah.
who paid for the glass box.
Right. Like.
Wait, who's Laura Dern? And like, what else has she played?
She's in Enlightened. That
Jurassic
HBO
Park?
show.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
First Jurassic Park.
And she was in Blue Velvet with.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
her Lynch.
Her
Lynch
dad
background.
is. Her
Just
dad
gonna
is.
have to watch all the Lynch movies.
You gotta watch some. I think you should start. Mulholland Drive is probably my favorite of the Lynch movies.
I tried it once. But
If
it was a while ago.
I think you'd get more enjoyment now. Now you'd be like, ooh, Black Lodge Theory.
When we're on vacation, maybe we should watch some David Lynch movies at the
Really
end of
feel
our
weird.
evenings.
Sure.
He's like, I cannot
Just
get.
find the Blockbuster in Mexico.
It's called the Internet, which I'm pretty sure our Airbnb has.
Yeah.
Touche.
What is?
Because it is.
You were tricked. Now one of you must die. I have that.
That's from Dougie.
The one-armed man says that to
yeah.
Dougie.
Yeah, we didn't really get
Dougie.
into when
Oh yeah, you're
Coop's
right.
Dougie and he
No, I think
pees for the first time.
I thought he said that to like Coop, good Coop,
No,
real
he
Coop.
said it.
Oh,
to
he
Dougie.
says it.
He
to-
says it to both of them though.
Yeah.
He says to the real Coop when he's in the bedroom,
When
like
he's-
Oh,
you could
yes.
see me.
Yeah.
You could see me. You were
That's
tricked.
right.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, you're right.
The one-armed man tells Coop, "You were tricked."
Now one of you must die.
Yeah, but the real Coop is
Yeah, you're right.
Because
concussed, so he doesn't know
Yeah.
anything.
You're just has been in the Black Lodge
Yes.
for so long.
yeah, real Coop learns how to pee.
Yep.
Dougie has
breakfast.
a son,
Named Sonny Jim.
Sonny Jim, who
Who-
looks kind of Hispanic.
Yeah.
So, or has a very olive complexion to be a child of Naomi Watts.
But maybe.
And a
And
manufactured Cooper.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
is this kid real now?
Right.
Kyle MacLachlan. So
Yeah.
I feel like if you mesh those two together, you wouldn't come out with an olive complexion.
No, you'd come up with a real pale kid.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
with sunburn. Because
Everything's deliberate. Maybe Sonny Jim isn't Dougie's
Coops. Yes.
kid.
Yeah, maybe
what
that's
I
why.
assumed too.
That's maybe, yeah.
I did weirdly like their little breakfast scene. It was cute.
Oh,
like
see, I think because after he drinks the coffee and is like, "Coffee," like, maybe that'll jog his
Yeah,
memory.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I thought he was
I
gonna
hope.
go like, damn fine.
Yeah, it all comes
But
back
that-
because of one sip of coffee. He just hasn't had coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he's just needed.
That was his last scene of that
So maybe.
episode, so
Yeah.
maybe.
It's just
It'll
all.
be-
That's all it was. Was just he
Yeah.
wasn't caffeinated. I understand. Like if I don't have my coffee, literally the first 30 minutes when I wake up, I'm a monster.
He's in a Black Lodge hangover right now.
Yeah. He just
So-
needs some coffee and pancakes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fine next episode. Or this will continue for the next entire.
I think maybe he'll still be having to search out his memory, like having to figure
Yeah.
out his past.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like this is going to go on for a few episodes.
I think you're probably right. And I love Naomi Watts and everything, but I want my old Coop back.
But I do think he'll probably get his speech back and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
he'll-
I want the gang back
So
together. I
we'll
want
see,
him
I
back
guess.
at the Great Northern, you know?
Yeah.
He's got his key.
Just gotta give me a little bit of hope. Yeah, and I think that's all we have.
Oh, the only other note I have is back in South Dakota, we
Oh,
find
yes.
out that so there was the head of Ruby and the body of a mystery guy, but it was blocked. They found the fingerprints of
Yes.
the John Doe, and it was blocked by the military.
Right.
So that was a quick scene, and they're just like, oh shit.
Yeah, I guess who do we think that? Do we think we're gonna know the John Doe man body?
I feel like it's gonna be Major Briggs.
I was thinking
like
that
the body
too.
type is Major Briggs.
But then,
Yeah.
Could
if
be,
Bobby
most likely.
saw me, you know,
It's been 25 years.
right,
But he died in the fire, but
yeah, the body's not like 70.
right? Did he actually die? That's a great point.
so that's what, because
Yeah, I
I've watched this once,
swear
and then when watching it again, I was like, it's probably
that's kind of the only male with that kind
Military,
of gut that we
yeah.
would that we
Yeah.
know from Twin
Yeah.
Peaks.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah.
or it could just be someone completely random. Because
Yeah.
you never know now.
The fourth Renault brother. I swear to God, if they add another Renault, I'm done. I don't want to say that because they'll do it. But There's too many Renaults.
Seemed like the Renaults were wiped out. But,
I hope the Renaults are done.
Jock was at the Bang Bang Bar.
I know.
Yeah.
Holographic Jock. Which was cool. That was very cool. Great music. We put some tunes from the show on our Facebook page.
Oh, we did.
Loving the chromatics now. Like, I'm their biggest fan.
Oh, yeah, they're getting big now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the other band? The guys?
Cactus Blossoms, I believe.
Yeah, which we saw them.
And then there was another band at the last.
We saw them when they opened for Fleet Boxes, right? Or no?
It was Jenny Lewis. We saw.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, Jenny Lewis would be a good person to
She would be.
have as a singer in the
She would be.
in the
I
Bang
mean,
Bang.
I think they'll have a band at the Roadhouse Bar.
I'm loving it because David Lynch
Like it,
is a big music fan, and I think he has great taste in music. Like,
And
I always love his soundtrack choices.
I know Julie Cruz will be back.
Good. I was worried about her when they were having all these youngsters in the bar. That maybe Julie Cruz was no
She'll
more.
be back. She'll be back.
Okay, good. All right. Meanwhile,